just talked about how people are employing the use of left versus right, in order to be able to create this kind of, splitting of opinions and one versus the other. And that has happened in the Dan Wootton story. Absolutely. It's been used for that. Dan Wootton, for those who don't know, is a tabloid hack. I am not a fan of him. I've never claimed to be. I made a video about it. He's now a GB News presenter. He came in on our side, for want of a better description, during lockdown, and was anti-lockdown, and did raise some awareness. And so people seem to forget his long and damning history for that moment in time. And of course, now there's all these allegations that have come out. There has been a series of exposés by Byline Times. He has been accused of a decade plus long blackmail, coercion, just horrendous stuff. As I say, these just allegations. He's denied any criminality, but he has not denied being characters. Martin Brannan, Maria Joseph, who were said to be the characters that he had created in order to be able to catfish people and have them supply covert footage of people having sex. Right now, these are just the allegations. Horrendous stuff. But as you pointed out, Francis, this left-right thing has been deployed, hasn't it?
Well, I found this not okay. So people can be accused of stuff, and we know already, right? So if there are compromised politicians, which I would assume there are because of the silence on the vaccines and the lockdowns, right? So you think, okay, why do they act like that? So one of them is that they're ideologically aligned with these World Economic Forum plans, or the United Nations, so that they actually believe in it, so that they've picked people who think this is a good idea. And then you might have people who are useful idiots, have no idea what's going on, but they just toe the party line, or they believe what they're told, like lots of people do in the media. Then in the middle, you've got people who are compromised. So if there are people who are compromised, there are people doing the compromising, right? And that's where these allegations come in, right? So if you take that as your starting point, then, so you have to then believe that's happening. So when someone's accused of it, the first thing, like if you knew that person and you didn't know them very well, you'd maybe met them since lockdowns and stuff, and you would think, oh goodness, well, maybe it's him because somebody's doing it. You would not get onto your Twitter and support him soliciting financial information. You'd say, at the best, if it was your mate that you'd met and you'd seen at social gatherings, you'd say, well, to me, he's always seemed fine, or he gave me a job on GB News, so he seems okay. So I think it's innocent to proven guilty, and we should just like hold back a little bit. That's as far as you could go. That's as far as you could go, because you do not know what people get up to in their spare time. And we've had the Jimmy Savile, we've had the Rolf Harris, we've had these things before. And I remember when Jimmy Savile died and all the allegations were flooding out, and one of his mates who used to go running with him or something, looked a bit shocked. I was like, I don't understand what people are saying all this. And he's always been good. And I thought, well, he looks a bit foolish. I mean, because he was clearly, you would imagine this guy was innocent because he got in front of the cameras and said something positive about Jimmy Savile. But what's really struck me is the number of people that we look at, so who are given prominence by Twitter as well. That's another thing.
Yes.
And other social media, and by GB News, and who are like what you might call who've become figureheads in the movement for whatever reason, because for their media profile and because of their followings. I've been shocked that they have been so absolute in their support of him, and also not just supporting him like it verbally, but joining in this solicitation of funds, which seems with the same fundraising firm that Bridgen is using for his defamation claim against Hancock, which is doomed to failure from the start, which is probably just going to give Hancock and his lawyers, the £250,000 Bridgen's looking for to do that. It just seemed to me like it made me doubt every single one of those people that backed him, not because he's obviously innocent until proven guilty. It was just the fact that they joined in this financial, solicitations.
I think that's a really important point. And just for those who don't know, he launched this crowdfunder in which he said the hard left are out to cancel him. And so that is these people on Twitter that you are talking about who've come out, and they have, Toby Young, Leilani Dowding, a number of people. I think Lawrence Fox is a lot of the GB News people, for example. And yes, so no caution, absolutely spared. But as we've said, right, these are allegations, and perhaps the correct approach would be, I'm hearing what's being said here, as you say, France. I'm hearing what's being said. The jury is out at this moment in time. He's been charged or convicted with nothing. However, the way that people have doubled down, I think, is going to be extremely problematic. Go on, Sean.
For me, it's more, I mean, I've had really, really horrible press written about me, and I know exactly what it's like. I've been accused of horrible, horrible things in the press, and I know exactly what it's like. And a lot of my friends came to my front door and they looked me in the eyes and they said, tell me it's not true. And I said, it's not true. And they would have done the same, and they would have tweeted for me. So I don't know if it's that much of a big thing. I understand what you're saying because he's asking for money, but innocent until proven guilty for me as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hear that. For me, the reason it's a big thing is this is a man who has informed our media narrative for a number of decades, and on substantial platforms. But if it's true what's being said about him, we need to question that, because this is a man who sat as judge, jury, and executioner over people's lives for a very, very long time. Go on, Francis.
Yeah, and also you made I've seen your video on it, Sonia, which is well worth watching if anyone hasn't. But it's not that's not the point, is it? Like we it's obviously innocent until proven guilty, but the point is that it's being ignored by the mainstream media.
Yes,
so
now that is important.
Right, okay.
So if you can say, everyone was talking about Hugh Edwards before he was named. Everybody talks about all these people and makes suggested things before they're named. But this guy's been named, he's been accused, he's not denied it, and then he's had this wealth of support from celebrities who usually distance themselves from anything like this. They don't care. Like they drop the people like a hot potato, or like as soon as they hear something negative about them.
Yeah.
And they've done the opposite. So those two things together, the fact that the media was so slow to report it, they actually have now in the past couple of days.
Yes.
They just made me think, what is going on here? Because as I said before, somebody's doing the compromising somewhere.
Yeah, 100%. And the only reason they felt able to report on the past few days, not least they had received threatening letters from Wootton's original lawyers, Mishcon Dereya, but also because Byline Times printed another article which gave quite serious proof about the logging on of these two characters, Maria Joseph and Martin Brannan. And basically a mathematician deduced that after all the calculations, there was a 0 chance that it was anybody but Dan Wootton who was logging on. Wow. A 0 chance. And so that was why the mainstream then felt able to report, because that's the kind of evidence that they would like to see. But there is no doubt, I think there are compromises there. And I floated the idea in the video that what if there are people all across British media who were compromised in Dan Wootton's alleged sting? That's something that and it's those sort of things, Sean, that I'm really interested in, because this is about somebody who had quite serious media power. You didn't have serious media power. You were on the end of their boot.
Oh, yeah. Oh, fully.
And whereas he was steering the ship, there's a big difference between you and him.
I was on the end of Strictly's boot.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he will know as well, even if he doesn't have actual video like material on these people, someone in that position will know things about the others that they've got up to.